Of course, the first thing is, go ahead and introduce yourself, who you are.
So I'm Riley, aka Riles, and I am on shows and I just love being around my people. So yeah.
And how do you represent yourself, of course, like in television?
So in television, honestly, I think it's kind of hard. Like you don't want to do the wrong thing and you want to do the right thing, but there are like barriers to that. So it's a little bit hard knowing what will be right. So I try to represent myself as, a girl who's growing and moving as I want to be, but sometimes you don't get that same respect with production and everything.
And mm, would you maybe want to speak a little bit more on like production, how you kind of like, just like navigate through that?
Yeah, so I feel like you can't really navigate it. Like, it's something that you just have to trust the process. And sometimes you can't really trust, you just gotta believe. But I hope for the best outcome and I try to represent myself well, but there's a lot of pressure in what comes out of that.
And we're currently in times where, of course, like voices, are being, like, of course, like taken, like how expression is just very limited. And so I wanted to ask, how should Black personalities like yourself, amplify their voices more?
Well, I think speaking out, being honest, and I also think there's a lot of pressure that's put on us. And it's like sometimes I just want to be young and try to learn a lot. And it's hard when you have all the cameras on you because everyone has their opinions and judgments and everything. And it's like at the end of the day, you have to take your time to learn yourself before others can learn you. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. And like, I kind of wanted to ask, do you feel like, especially like with like Black personalities, do they have to like, put on maybe like a role, in front of the cameras, not to be perceived in like some type of way?
yes, I do fully believe that. I think so I grew up on TV, so it's a little bit different. But for people who are just now getting on camera, I think that we all know that there is this other level and this other thing we're trying to make sure that we represent. And it's hard, but you know, sometimes you just got to take your time.
And hmm, how should, I guess, Black personalities, be celebrated for this Black History Month?
Um, well, I will say, I was hanging out with my friends yesterday, and I was like, "It's Black History Month, so I'm relaxing. You guys got to take care of everything today." But I think we should be celebrated by like supporting Black businesses. I think we should also, I think that's the main thing, support Black businesses, like, period. I know Ramen by Raw in New York. Go to Harlem, support those businesses, and come to Brooklyn, support those. Yeah.
And what are some advantages and disadvantages of course, like being on television or being a Black TV, personality?
Um, I think the disadvantages is like not being able to have the time to learn. That is very hard. I know for me that's very hard because I want to learn. I want to take the time. I want to figure out my life. But at the same time, when everything is recorded and when everything is being, public perception, that's hard, you know? So I think, you know, give grace for sure and give time.
And, ooh, is there some things that you're planning on doing for Black History Month?
Yes, I feel like we should try to again support Black businesses, jazz clubs, all of that. And I want to revisit NYU, and
Oh,
hopefully get into my school this summer, you
yeah.
know?
I feel like, of course, like as an alumni, there's like so many opportunities, especially like maybe what is it when it comes to the Black Student Union at NYU, which I'm also active in as well. So I'm like, that would be really cool if you can, I don't know, maybe do something with them or they could do something with
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
I would love that. I feel like when I was there, there wasn't as much presence. So
Oh, wow.
I am so glad that we have communities like this that we can really lean into.
Yeah. No, yeah. I'm surprised that there wasn't a presence as all as you said.
Mhm.
But no, again, I am glad, of course, like I'm in a space where it's just like everybody's uplifted. But what are some things people should be, I guess, educated on regarding to, say, maybe like, I don't know if this makes sense, like black television?
I think that we should all revisit our childhood classics, you know? And I think we're still paving the way, Like we did have those classics back down in the early 2000s, the 90s, But I feel like we're also paving a way right now where there are more shows and more representation, and I think we're really putting on for the next generation.
And what are some things people should know about you?
I think people should know that I feel like I'm good energy, And I think people think I'm maybe unapproachable or something like that, but I love hanging out with everyone. I'm so open, I'm so nice, I'm so honest, and that's what I want people to know. And fun, of course.
And
And I love just being a people's person. And I want people to know that I also represent my community. I make sure that people know that, if you're around me, you are good people and we all just represent the Black community and everything, And we respect us.
And sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off or anything, but I also wanted to say earlier, I love your hair, so
Oh,
same
thank
thing.
you.
Yeah. And oh, just for our last question, mm, how should platforms, say maybe like social media platforms, of course, or maybe even like TV platforms, should uplift, their black personalities?
I think something really important is having Black people in production. I think that's so important. I know this season we had a Black female producer that I feel like made everything way better for me personally. But I think that's what we need. We need people in those roles. So, yeah.
And I guess, would you have any advice for anyone who, of course, wants to go into maybe production, who wants to go on television and stuff, but is also, a black woman or a black man?
Yeah, I mean, my sister does it, so she probably has way better advice than me. But I will say my advice would be to talk to everybody. It is hard to get in these roles, I will say, but you just gotta. Honestly, I don't know. I have never worked in production. Sometimes it's okay to say I don't know.
But no worries, like the advice you gave is still good, and probably our listeners will find some type of connection with it. But yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add for the interview?
I'll say tune in to Next Gen NYC season 2, and also NYU grad. I love and miss NYU, and that's a great place to go. I will say take some public speaking classes. That's what I needed to learn after, because it was a little bit hard for me. My internships and everything, I was like, I probably should have took that class. And Melissa Newhart, love her. I don't think she works there anymore, but she did a branding class there, and that was my favorite class that I ever took at NYU. So, and then entertainment law.
Ooh, I'll try to look into it. Maybe she's still a professor there, but yeah. But yeah, no, thank you so much again. Of course, I'll keep you posted when the episode comes out, when it's live. But again, thank you always for just joining me on this conversation. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for thinking of me. This was great.
Of course, yeah. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, or maybe I can speak to somebody. I know somebody from the Black Student Union if you are interested in maybe doing something with them.
Yeah, I can, of course. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you again. Have a great day, Riley.
You too.